So hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. From this tutorial video onwards, we are going to be starting the CSS course from beginners to advanced level. By saying course, I'm not going to go and start showing you how to add style to HTML and all. We're just gonna create real-time projects that will be for beginners to advanced level, in which we'll learn how to build parallax websites, how to build responsive websites, how to create animation with CSS and many more. Alright, so this is our first video for our CSS project for beginners, in which we will learn how to create a tribute page with HTML and CSS. Yes guys, we are going to be creating a tribute page. I will explain you later onwards what is tribute page. But in this we will learn basics of HTML and CSS. And the most important thing that people are suffering with is that how can we create a responsive website? We are adding media queries, we are writing a code to make our website responsive, but still our website is not responsive, that everyone faces the issue with. So in this video we will create a tribute page that we will be making it responsive with CSS, and I will show you how to use media queries in a proper way. There's no one or two media queries that everyone uses. You need to use the same one to make your website responsive. It's not like that. Depending on your website design, there are multiple media queries that you can use to give your website a decent look in mobile devices. So let's start. The simplest website that you can make as a beginner is a tribute page of someone you admire in your life. For this tutorial video, I will actually tribute to myself. It required only a basic knowledge of HTML and CSS. Make a web page writing about a person, and below give it a layout for the rest of the details. You can use paragraph, you can use links, you can use images, lists, and you can give it a decent look by adding a little bit of CSS and some font style depending on you. All things will be explained to you in this tutorial video. Most of the parts you can use with HTML. You can create it by using the HTML, I mean to say. To give it a better look, we're going to be using CSS, and to make our tribute page look responsive, we will be using media queries in CSS. So what we are waiting for? Let's start the video and let's see how to create a responsive tribute page with HTML and CSS. Alright, so as you can see over here on my main screen, I have two files created in my folder directory, that is HTML and CSS. Just ignore this text file. In this text file I do have some content that I will be using for my tribute. So for now I'm going to be closing it. And on the right hand side you're gonna see my live preview. For example, as you can see over here on the tab, you're having tribute to myself. If I just remove it, as you can see, within like 1 or it's live changing it. So that will be really helpful for you, other than reloading it and waiting it. It's gonna waste our time. So we are having a live preview. The extension name is like live preview. The link will be provided in the description below. You can just install that extension for your VS Code editor. Perfect. So let's come to our HTML file, and over here in my body, let me just make a code look bit bigger so it will be really easy for you all guys to see. And I'm going to be closing my sidebar, so it will be helpful for you to see the whole line of code in one single line. Okay, so first let's design a header for a tribute page. We are going to be not using like a logo, a menus, or buttons in our header. It's a simple tribute page. We will learn how to create header in our later coming videos, but in this video we are going to be having a simple header, including a header named as tribute to myself. Alright, so let's use the header tag over here. In this header tag I will be having an h1 tag, and I will write over here tribute to myself. Perfect. This is going to be my header. So what we are going to do, guys, is that first we are going to be writing all of our HTML. I mean to say, we'll make all of our structure, and afterwards we're going to be applying this style step by step, so you will understand, okay, this code is written for applying this specific style. So it will be really easy for you all guys to learn how to add styles to your HTML. And at the end, when our styling is done, we'll make our website look responsive. Alright, so after the head tag, we're going to be having a container in which we'll be having the image of the tribute person, the name of his, and some information, whether it's a paragraph or whether it's list. So let's create a div which is going to be having a class name of container. So class means we are providing it a specific ID. I mean to say, if you're having like multiple divs and you wanted to provide the same class, you can go with class. But if you're having one div and providing it one, and if you're not gonna use that specific class name or an ID name, once again you can go with ID, but I will be using it later depending on you. For now, we're going to go with container. It will be helpful for styling our div in our CSS file. We will select our dot container and we will be applying the style code. It will be applied to our container in our HTML. In this container, the first thing I need is the image. Alright, and I will be providing this image an ID that is going to be image. After this image, I will be having the author name. So I will be creating a div for it and I will be providing it an ID. I will name it as code. Depending on you, you can even go with author, depends. And after that, the name of the author in paragraph tag, easy to code. Perfect. As you can see, the live changes are implemented right over here. Okay, so now I do have my image, but I haven't pasted the image link right now. I will paste it later once all informations are written. After the author name, I will be creating a different div for my bio, which is going to be having a class of bio. And in this, I will be having a paragraph tag to which I will be providing it an ID of info, short form of information. Alright, and in this paragraph, I'm having already drafted the information that I will be entering in it. So here's my real information. You can go through it. How I started the journey of becoming a full stack developer. And I will just paste it right inside the paragraph tag. And you can even install the Prettier extension to just align your code and make your code look pretty in VS Code Editor, but I haven't installed it yet. So yes, you can see over here it's not automatically styled. So I will just manage it for right now. And okay, so as you can see, I do have the paragraph. Perfect. Now I'm thinking to add some points. So for adding the points, I'm actually going to be using the UL tag. What is the full form of UL? UL means unordered list. The link will be provided in the description below for w3schools.com website if you need to go through in detail for paragraph, image, div, header, and UL and LI, that is list item. What it means, why we are using it for, you can just go through the website and you can get more detailed information about the tags that I'm using in this HTML. But for a basic and a little bit of knowledge, I will explain you UL means unordered list, in which we'll be having a point before our list item. I will explain you, as in this UL tag, I will be having a line break first of all. So for line break, I'm using the BR tag. Like if you're writing a paragraph, alright, and we are pressing enter, after that still we are adding an image, but we are not having a line break. Going to CSS file and giving it a margin from top is not beneficial and it doesn't look professional. So what we are going to do is in HTML file, we are having the BR tag. Just add that BR tag where you need the line break, I mean to say before the image, just add it and you will be having a line break, a space that you need to make it look that it's in a new line. right? Yeah. So after this I will be having a list. Okay, so as you can see over here, we are having that specific dot, and after inside this list, whatever I'm going to write is going to be coming after the point. That is known as unordered list. So I'm having some of the lists. I'm going to copy and paste this list multiple times, so it will save our time. And now I will open my info.txt file, as I do have all the points defined over here, as I drafted it already to keep time shorter. It will be really easy for you. As you can see, this is our first point, this is our second point, and let's come to our third point. I will actually fast forward the video till the time I'm pasting all of the points. Perfect. So as you can see guys, over here we do have our header, we do have our other name, we do have our image, which is not being displayed because we haven't pasted the URL yet. We do have our information and we do have some points. Now what is left is to create a footer, a beautiful looking footer in which we're going to be having some nice looking text, like for example, created by easy to code from since till 2023. So to create footer, what we're actually going to do is we're going to come out of the div, that is our main container. We're going to come out of our main container and we're going to create a footer tag. In this footer, we're going to be having a paragraph, and we'll go with like created by easy to code, or, and I mean to say, and since 2023. I mean, just I'm defining 2020 because I started my programming journey actually in 2020. So over here also there's one mistake. I started my programming journey not in 2022, it's 2020. Alright, so that's it. Now let's get the image. So I will come to the Google and search for my image. I actually like this particular image. This image looks good. So let's see whether it's in a good quality or not. Yes, it's in a good quality. So I will copy the image address. Okay. After copying the image address, come back to your HTML code, and inside your image tag there is a source. Paste it between the double quotes. That's it guys. As you can see, we do have my image being displayed in my web page. That's amazing. So alright guys, now we are all set up with our HTML. Now let's style it. Alright, for styling it, we are going to be opening our style.css file. But when you're writing a code in your style.css file, how it will be reflecting it to your HTML? Yes, that's a good question. So come back to your HTML file and write this line of code before your ending head tag. Link rel style sheet, type text/css href and your CSS file name, whether it's in this directory or whether it is in another directory. You can define it by using full stop slash, and I have having the CSS file in the same directory, so I'm defining it style.css. That's it. So now my CSS file is actually connected with my HTML. For example, if I select my body tag and if I just change the background color to red, as you can see, it is applied to my HTML and I can see the changes in my web page. Perfect. So now let's start styling our tribute page. So first we are going to be selecting the star and we are going to remove the margin and the padding from our web page. And we are going to set the box sizing to border box. After that, I'm going to be selecting my body tag, in which I will be defining the font family by default to all of my text, whether it's paragraph, whether it's list items, whether it's a head tag, or whether it's included in footer, anything guys. So I will change the font family to Arial Sans Serif. After that, I'll be changing the background color of my body to hashtag F9 to make it a bit darker white color. Alright, let me just remove this alert in VS Code editor, otherwise you will always, how this alert is being displayed. It's not actually being displayed, it's directly from the VS Code software. Alright, so don't get confused between it. So after body tag, we're gonna select our anchor tag. Actually, we'll go with it later, but when you're providing a link, I mean to say when you're providing a link to the image or to a text or to a button, of course we're going to be having a underline, and we have seen that when we provide a link to a button or a text or to an image, the paragraph, the text that we do have included in it changes its color, and we do have a text decoration of underline. So we need to remove that. So we will select our anchor tag and we'll set the text decoration to none, and we will change the color to black. Perfect. After that, now let me style my header tag. I mean to say my header. So I will select my header and I'll change its background color to a type of black. I will change the color of my text to white. After that, I will be providing some padding inside my header that is going to be approximately like 20 pixels, and then I will align the items that I'm having, I mean to say the text that I'm having inside my header in center. Perfect, that's it. As you can see, now we do have a beautiful header created. Now let's style our container. We'll be providing some padding from top and bottom to our container. That is going to be from top 20 and from bottom also 20 pixels to get some space between the header and the footer tag. Perfect. After my container is styled, now we're going to style our H1 tag. So we'll be having a margin of 0. After that, I will just change the font size of it, that is going to be like 26 pixels for my header. That looks good. As you can see, the font size is changed right over here. Right? Perfect. Once it's done, now we're going to be styling our image. So let me select my image, the ID that I have provided to my image tag, that is image. So I'll be selecting it in my CSS file by providing hashtag before that specific ID, and then I will say to display it as block, and then we'll be having a margin of auto. After that, I will be changing the width of my image, that is going to be 50%, and the max width is going to be 300 pixels. After that, I will be providing a round, I mean to say I don't want my image to be in square, I want it to be in ellipse, in circle. So for doing that, we're going to be providing a border radius to my image that is going to be approximately like 100% to give it a round shape, and as you can see, this thing looks good. Now our design doesn't look good still. Why? Because to our header we have provided a background color of type of black, but our image is having a sharp ellipse. So to make it look cool and attractive, we are going to be providing it a border. So for providing it a border, actually select border. Alright, and we're gonna go with 10 pixel solid and the color of our header, that is type of black. Perfect. So as you can see, now that is matching to our tribute header. Perfect. After that, we're gonna style our quote. That means the author name that is easy to quote. So first of all, I will align it in center. After that, I will be changing its font style to italic to just get it look like this, that it's gonna fall. That is known as italic. After that, I will be providing some margin from top. Let's go with 20 pixel, and I will change the font size, that is going to be 25 pixel. After that, I will just transform my text to look it capitalized. I will just set it to capitalize. Perfect, that is good. But it's already capitalized, so I want my other name to look all capital. So for that, I will set it to uppercase. That's perfect. And I will change the font weight to bold. Perfect. That looks really good and amazing. So now we have styled our header, our image, and our author name. Let's come back to our HTML file and let's add some quotes before and after our author name to make it look it's an author. Perfect. After our quote is designed, styled I mean to say, now let's style our bio information. So let's select our bio ID, that is #more, and let's provide it some margin that we have provided to our actually header. So we'll go with 50 pixel and 100 pixel. That looks good, right? Yeah. Oh, why I have selected my #more? Let me come to my HTML file. It's class of bio. I mean to say it's class of bio. It's an ID of bio. So I will just change it to class depending on you. Let's keep it as class. Let's come back to our CSS file and it's a class of bio. Now as you can see, the margin is applied. That looks good. After that, we'll just align the text to make it look justified in the line from right and left. After that, we are going to be just changing the font size of the information to 19 pixel to make it look bit larger, so it will be really easy for the user to read. Once our bio is styled, now we're going to select our more. In more, we are actually going to be styling, as you can see when you come to over here, the more we haven't. So now we have successfully styled our information and we have successfully styled our list items. But we can see that over here we are not having a line break. It's looking like it's a paragraph, but we are having our list unordered list points defined. So to make it look good, sorry, just remove this more code that will come later onwards on it. What we're going to do is we're going to be adding the BR tag after every single list tag, like this. We're getting space, right? That makes our list item looks good. Same thing we're actually going to repeat for every list items, but not for the last one. Perfect. That's good. You can just make your code look pretty, but for now I'm not just aligning my code to look it pretty. I'm just simply just writing the code to explain you all guys. Later onwards, I will just make it look pretty and upload the source code in my GitHub repository named as CSS project from beginners to advanced level. Alright guys, so that's perfect. Now we have just styled our attribute, header, image, author, and the information. Now let's style actually not the bio, it's known as footer. Now let's style our footer. So for styling our footer, we're gonna select the footer tag. We're gonna change the background color same like we have changed for our header, that is 333 hex code, and then we'll change the text color to white, that is FFF hex code. After that, I will be just providing some padding to my footer. As you can see over here, the light change over here. So I will be just changing the padding to 10 pixels from all the sides, and I will align the text in center. After that, the position is going to be fixed, and after that I will be changing to make it attached to the bottom, so just applying it as bottom 0. and then changing the width to 100%. Perfect. That looks good. So now we have even created and styled our footer for our tribute page. As you can see, our header is having some more paddings and margins. I mean to say padding, and our footer is not having any kind of a margin and is having less padding to make it look like a footer, because we are not having much content to give it a margin or a padding. We are having less content named as like created by EC2 code, so we're gonna go with less padding included in it. Alright, once it's done, we are all set with our basic tribute page. But it's really too simple. To make it look more attractive, what we're going to do is we're going to be adding some more links and the images. I mean to say, we'll go with like my YouTube videos. I will be fetching my YouTube videos from my YouTube channel and I will be displaying it in my tribute page. It's by just copying the video URL and just pasting it inside the image. Simple. And once the user clicks on that, the user will be redirected to my YouTube channel and he can even watch the video. So for that, let's come back to our HTML file, and inside our main container, let's create a div and provide it a class of more. In this, we're going to have another div which is going to be having a class of grid container. In this grid container, we're going to be having another div which is going to be having a class of grid item. So actually now what you're going to learn is that you're going to learn how to actually deal with grid. A grid, I mean to say, like we'll be having 3 items. If you have seen multiple websites, for example YouTube is having videos displayed in a row in 4 grids, and when we make the website responsive, when we are in a mobile devices or a tablet devices, in tablet it displays like 2 grids, in mobile it displays 1 grid. So how can we do that? It's with the help of display grid. So we'll learn some grid systems also in it. I will be creating a different tutorial video on how to just create grid with HTML and CSS, in which you will learn how to create grid and how it's done responsively, how you can deal it to make it responsive in all devices, whether it's portrait or whether it's landscape. So for the first row, actually we are having what are we going to do is we're going to be having 3 grid items, actually 4. So I'm just going to copy this div and paste it 3 times more. That's perfect. Now inside this div, what I'm going to be having is an anchor tag, which is going to be having the link to my YouTube channel of that specific thumbnail that I will be including in this image. So I'll be having an image tag, simple, and after the image tag I will be having an h4 tag for defining the title of the video. I'll go with like Bootstrap Studio full course, and same thing we're going to do with this all of our grid items. So I'll fast forward the video. Perfect. So as you can see over here, guys, we do have the title for our grid items defined over here, but we can see that only 3 titles are being displayed and the first title is not being displayed. Why so? So let's see. We can see that we do have Bootstrap Studio full course. Alright, I got it. That because let me just remove this specific div for the full stack Amazon clone. Alright. So that's happening because we have just provided a margin to our main container, so we need to change it to make it appear in our front end. So now inside the image, I will be having the image for my YouTube video. If like I can just directly come to the Google, copy the URL of the image, copy image address and paste it over here, and the next thing is that I will go to my YouTube for that specific thumbnail video. I'll copy the URL of the video and then paste it inside this anchor tag. So once I complete it, I will come back again. Alright guys, so as you can see, it's done. So now as you can see, our HTML is totally broken because of thumbnail image. So to fix it, let's come back to our CSS file before our footer. Over here I will be selecting the class name, that is .more, and I will be changing its width to auto actually. And I'll be providing it a margin from top and bottom of 50 pixel and from right and left of 100 pixel. After that, I'll be selecting my grid container, and now as you know, in my grid container I do have 4 grid items in, I mean to say 4 divs with the class name of grid item that I want to display it in one row four times, 1 2 3 4 in one single row. So how can I do that? I'll be selecting my grid container and I will set the display to grid, and after that I'll select my grid template columns and set it how many times I need it to be displayed. I need it to be displayed 4 times, so I'm setting the auto 4 times. After that I will set the grid gap to 20 pixel. Perfect. Now, after styling our grid container, we are gonna style our grid item and then we'll style our grid image. So let's select our grid item. And we are just gonna set its overflow to hidden. When we're gonna deal with the responsive CSS code, we'll be having some issues when we're going through the responsive or grid item. The content that we are having inside our grid item div will be overflowed, and that will break our responsiveness. So to fix it, we're gonna set the overflow to hidden. Okay, after that let's style our image to make it look in our HTML front end. So .more, we're gonna select the grid container in which we are having the image tag. I will change its height to 150 pixel to make it look a bit smaller. And wait, let's come back to our HTML file and let's save it. And we can see the class is more, then we do have a class of grid item. Alright, perfect. Alright. Alright. After that, we're gonna set its border radius to 10 pixel. And then I'll change the width of the image to 100%, and I'll set the height back to auto. Alright, so as you can see, the changes are not applied to our front end. So let's do a refresh right over here to see. Still it's not. So let's see what's the issue that we're facing. So let's come back to our HTML file. We can see we are having a class of more, a grid item, in which I do have the anchor tag in which the image and the heading is included. Perfect. So now let's see, in our style.css we are selecting .more. Perfect. And then we have grid item .grid item, and then we are selecting the image that is there inside my grid item. So grid hyphen item. Perfect. So if the changes are not happening right over here, sometimes just right click in your index.html file and open it with live server, but it's actually not over here. So what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to copy the relative path of the HTML file, and I will open my Google Chrome, and I will just come over here and paste it right over here. Sorry, come back to your VS Code editor and copy the path of your index.html file, and then you can paste it over here. Yeah, you can access. Alright, yeah, so there's some issues in our CSS code. As you can see, it's not properly styled. So let me come back to my VS Code editor and let's see what's the issue that we are facing in our CSS code. Alright guys, so I got the issue right over here, that is we are not having a grid container defined over here. So for fixing that, come before your first grid item and create a div and provide it a class of grid container. And the end of this grid container, just paste it once your last grid item ends. For me it ends over here, and I'm going to paste it right over here, and let's save it. And now let's see. Perfect guys, Now as you can see over here, our grid item is totally responsive, and now as you can see, all of our 4 grid items are being displayed in a row like how it is for YouTube. Now what is happening now, if I do open the same thing, let me just copy the relative path, copy the path for my index.html file, come over here to the Google Chrome, paste it right over here. As you can see, that looks really good, it looks really amazing. But now we need to make it responsive. But right over here we can see that when we come to the responsiveness, sometimes we need to display it in a 3 grid container, sometimes we need to display it in a 2 grid container, sometimes we need to display it in 1 grid container, depending on the size the user is viewing the trade, I mean to say my website. Alright, so over here we are going to be writing the media queries to make our website look responsive. So the first media query is going to be on 1079 pixel. That's actually for tablet devices or laptop devices. So now let's discuss in detail about media queries. How can you make your website responsive? What happens, for example, now I'm creating a tribute to myself website page. Over here I can see now here's a breakpoint where my website is not looking good, it's just breaking its design and it's totally shit. So to fix that, what you can do is you can select that specific breakpoint, that is 1079 pixel, add it right over here, the maximum width, and you can write the code to make it look good. And you can see again, oh, that's perfect. Once again, when you come to 500 pixel, which is for mobile devices, and now you can see in this breakpoint your website is not looking good. I mean to say, some paragraphs is overflowing, something is not responsive. You can select that specific breakpoint media query, and then you can write that specific code to make it look good in that specific media query. Once you have done that, you are all set. You can see your website will look responsive in all user devices. So first we are going to select 1079 pixel, in which we are going to select our grid container. For example, I will show you right over here. I will select my display grid, and what I want is when the user comes to the laptop or when the user comes to the tablet device, we're gonna only show the 2 columns. So for showing that, we're gonna set it to auto 2 times. As you can see, the life changes over here because we are having the size of tablet being displayed over here, and as you can see, our grid column is changed from 4 to 2 to make it look good in tablet devices and make it more attractive to the user, and easily user can read that specific information that is provided inside that grid item. Then we'll be providing some grid gap that is going to be 20 pixel, that is actually provided. Still we'll go with it, it's not actually needed. After that, I will select the bio and I will change its margin from top and bottom to 50 pixel, and from right and left actually I'll go with 70 pixel. As you can see, it's changed right over here. Am I right? Yeah. After that, I will set the text align to justify. It's not actually needed because we have already defined it in our first CSS code for all devices. After that, I'm gonna select my more and I'll be providing the margin from top and bottom of 50 pixel, from right and left of 50 pixel. That's nice. We are done with our first media query, and the second media query I will select that is going to be for 860 pixel. For example, I will select my 860 pixel media query and open my HTML project in Google Chrome. I will right click and I will open my inspector. Alright, now we're gonna write the media query for 860 pixels. So let's see why we're gonna write that specific media query. So over here, as you can see, we are breaking to okay, So sometimes what happens when you're viewing your HTML project in Google Chrome, sometimes the inspector doesn't work. So don't need to worry about it. We'll just go through it at the end. So for 860 pixel media query, select your mode, and I will be changing the margin from top and bottom to 50, from right and left also to 50 pixel. After that, we're gonna write the last media query for 600 pixel. I will make it to display it as grid, and this time I would like to change. Actually, I will be selecting the class. I just forgot to select it. That is my hashtag bio, and I will be changing the margin from top and bottom to 50, from right and left to 25 pixel. Okay, once it's done, I'll be selecting my dot mode, div container, and I'll be changing the margin from top and bottom to 50, from right and left to 25 pixel. Alright, after that I'll be selecting my grid container, and this time I will change the grid template columns to auto when it comes to the mobile responsiveness. When we're on mobile devices, I don't want to display two grids in one single row. I would like to display only one grid, so I'm setting it only once auto, and then the grid gap to 20 pixel. Perfect. Let's see. That's perfect. As you can see right over here, guys, this is our tablet devices. When we scroll down to our mobile devices, we are only displaying one grid item, right? That's our mobile device, and that looks really good and clear. But what I need over here to be there is that in our H4 tag, I would like to align the text in center. So for doing that, I'll just come over here and I'll select my H4 tag and align the text in center. That's it. Perfect. Now let me just actually copy the URL from here, live server URL, come back to my browser and paste it over here. Is this working? Yeah, perfect. So now let me come back to my VS Code editor and explain you the media queries with example. So the first media query we have written for 1079 pixel. Let me come over here. So you can see over here, here's our breakpoint being displayed. When it comes to 1079, you will see some changes in our front end. Let's scroll down to 1079. As you can see, once we touch to 1079, as you can see over here, we can see our grid column is changed to 2. That's perfect. After that, we are having a media query for 600 pixel for a breakpoint for our grid container. Let's come to 600 pixel breakpoint. Once we are near it, and once we come back to 600 pixel, as you can see, now we are only displaying one grid item in one single row to make our mobile website look good in mobile devices. As you can see, this is how our tribute page will look. We will be having the 4 grid items displayed in different rows to make it look good. Now it's having a link. When I click on that, I'll be redirected to my YouTube channel. Perfect. Now I'm gonna close it. Alright, so we are all set and perfect, guys. We have successfully created a tribute page with HTML and CSS. So now I'll explain you what we have learned actually in this video. We have learned how can we apply styling to our HTML file, how can we create a tribute page, some basic tags like heading tag, paragraph tag, unordered list, list tag, and footer tag, and many more like header and all. The link for all of this tag, more depth information will be provided in the description below. You can go and you can just get in detail all about this tags. Alright, and the most important thing that we have covered in this video while creating a tribute page is how can you make your website responsive. with media queries, and you have even learned about grid template columns. How can you just display different grid items in a single row, and how can you make it look responsive in different devices, whether you want to display 2 grid in tablet or 1 grid in mobile. You have learned all about it. Perfect. Still, I will be creating a different video on display grid items to just go in depth all about grid, columns and many more for portrait and landscape. So that's it for this video. In this video you have learned how to create a responsive website actually, in which we have created a tribute to myself page with HTML and CSS. So if you like the video, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the notification bell, and I will see you in the next amazing tutorial video.